thank all of you for coming. This is a great turnout and a really great way to start out and kick off the 2015 reunion. This year, 10 classes are celebrating their reunion. I think they're all represented here tonight, the fives and the zeros, from the class of 65 through the class of 2010. And we're going to take a few minutes to tell you what you can expect between now and when the reunion dinner happens on June 13th at the JW Marriott Hotel downtown, and how we can all work together to make this your most successful reunion ever. But before we get into those details, I'd like to turn the floor over to Dean Rasmussen, who has a...
It's Rasmussen,
He'll get it
exactly. Not Kuzma. He's got that down. Okay, well, thanks for coming here. I don't need any microphone in this room. But first I want to say how just personally thankful to see so many friends here tonight. It means a lot to me that you guys have come out and volunteered to help with reunion, so I really appreciate it. I want to talk for a little bit, just sort of at the high level, what is reunion really about? Because a lot of times there's a lot of confusion about that. And I think it's two basic things. The first and the primary thing is an opportunity for classes to get together. I spent a lot of time in the spring going across the country talking to prospective law students and trying to tell them what makes this school special, what makes us unique. And one of the things that it really comes down to is the alumni network, the Trojan family, the Trojan network. And one thing that we do is every 5 years we gather to reaffirm that. Now I know a lot of you see each other, in between those, 4 years and 364 days. But this is one time to get together as a class for the purpose of remembering what we did in law school and celebrating that. And I think it's essential to our... Look, if you drink enough wine, it gets better all the time. There are things that, in retrospect, always look better.
Yeah.
Okay, exactly. Then the second thing is obviously around reunion, we ask people to donate money. We don't hold reunion to make money. Quite frankly, it'd be a lot easier events to run to make money. What we do say is people come to the law school, we want them to reflect on what did their USC education mean to them, and to think about whether it should be part of their philanthropy. I think it should. My wife and I, we contribute every year to the school because we believe in this place. And we are proud to ask for money, we're proud to give money to this. And so around the context of reunion, we like to talk to people and say, okay, to the extent that you think you got a good education here, to the extent you want to help out the people coming next, going forward, please think about ways in which you can support the school. And I can tell you, as someone who not only recruits students, but has the honor of teaching first-year contract students, your successors are a great group of people, and they really are worthy of your support. So again, thanks for coming out here. That's the sort of 40,000-foot view of what we're doing, and now I turn it back over to Ned and Tony.
So the big secret to the success of the reunion is obviously the reunion committees, and I want to thank all of you here tonight who've already agreed to serve on your committee, and to let the rest of you know that it's not too late to step forward if you're interested. And with that, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Danny Guggenheim, class of 2004. Danny is a partner at Kircher, Nichols & Meeks in the firm's real estate department, and he had such a great experience on his reunion committee last year that he's graciously agreed to come here and say a few words about it.
Thanks very much. Thanks for inviting me. I'm happy to be here. USC Law School was a very important part of my life. I met my wife at USC, my first job out of law school, actually my externship and then my first real job out of law school were both courtesy of USC Law alums that felt strongly about recruiting. And so from the beginning of my career, that has been instilled in me, and I've been inspired by the mentors that I've had from the USC community. So I have chosen to continue to be involved. I was involved in our 5-year committee and last year on our tenure committee, and I have the privilege on being part of the executive board of the Alumni Association with a few people that I see. And what I wanted to talk about tonight was just a few things, a few reflections from our experience last year with Reunion Committee and with Reunion in particular. The first thing that I wanted to do was commend the law school on really having put together a wonderful event last year. Our 5-year reunion was wonderful as well, but from our perspective at least, the move over to the Marriott Hotel from the law school was a good one. And as a preview of what that event is like, basically the hotel is fantastic and it's part of the new kind of downtown area. And as you enter the event, there's a very grand gathering area. Some faculty and administrators are there. You'll see people that you recognize. It's an area for graduates of all classes to kind of gather and mingle, but then fairly quickly to be directed into class-specific areas, each with their own bar, importantly. And that created a really nice opportunity for mingling with the people that you're really there to see, which are the other members of your class, as opposed to kind of a mixed area where you have to maybe make your way through a crowd in order to find people that you know. That created really instant rapport with people that we hadn't seen for a while. 5 years didn't feel that far out, but 10 years felt pretty far out. A lot of things had changed, and as you know, I'm sure as you get farther out, things will continue to change. But the point is that having your own space to gather, whether it was 5 alums or 50 alums, immediately created an environment that was conducive to people catching up and talking and reintroducing themselves. There was a nice bonus of having name tags that I think for my class at least had our pictures on them from when we were entering the law school. That's always fun. And so there was a really nice opportunity to reconnect just with your classmates in that environment. And then from there I moved into a grand ballroom where there was typical reception seating and large tables. But the classes nonetheless tended to stick together in that area as well, I think because they were moving as a unit from the class-specific areas. And so really from the beginning of the night through the end of the evening, which of course, at least last year culminated with USC band and or song girls. I'll admit I'm having a hard time remembering. But that's because I had a really good time, not because it wasn't memorable.
Trust me, it's the song that a lot of some of the wives and some of the alums complained about that.
Well, there you go, and I might have been one of them, so I guess I'm glad I don't. And really from start to finish, it was a great experience. And so I think to the extent that part of the job of committees is to get people excited about reconnecting, that necessarily ties into the venue and the environment that you'll be reconnecting in. And I really can't say enough about how wonderful that was all last year. And something else that I wanted to talk about was how our committee went about the difficult process of actually garnering interest in attending the event and also campaigning. It's not easy to campaign. It's not easy to ask classmates, especially classmates that you haven't been in touch with, to support the law school. It was particularly difficult 5 years ago when half of my classmates were struggling to either find a new job or keep their current job. I think most people have come out of that, but it's always important to keep a sensitivity when you're reaching out to other people about the different circumstances that your classmates might find themselves in. And the way that at least I was able to kind of bridge that gap in a way that I was comfortable with was by being a participant in the campaign myself. The first thing that I did when I joined the committee was I made a 5-year pledge for the Law Leadership Society, together with my wife. And that made it easier for me to ask people to join me in supporting the law school rather than just asking people to support the law school. And I want to draw particular attention to the pledge program. The gift that we ended up making when you put it on paper sounded much more significant than I think I would have ever been comfortable giving. But the ability to spread that out over a 5-year pledge and from my perspective, more importantly, the ability to take advantage of the law school's relatively new program where you can set up automatic monthly deductions from a checking account or a credit card, kind of took what felt like a big number and make it into something that was much more manageable. That was something that we emphasized a lot on our committee because at least among our age range, that was helpful, and the money was significant. Due to some wonderful accounting gimmicks, if people make a 5-year pledge, it all gets counted as having been made for the reunion. So I'm not going to say that we cheated, but we did pretty well overall, based in large part on convincing people to make 5-year pledges. And the nice thing about that is that that's the gift that keeps on giving. Reunion's only every 5 years. I also serve on the annual fund committee. It's really nice to have seen the list of people that I'm supposed to contact this year be so much shorter than it was last year because of the number of classmates that elected to make a 5-year pledge and aren't on. I don't need to be on that, immediate solicitation list. So at least for the younger classers and anybody else that think that sounds helpful, I would encourage people to consider that and emphasize that. The other thing that was very helpful, relative in part to 5 years ago, but just generally, is the support from the law school. Everything from coordinating the conference calls to friendly reminders about the things that you're supposed to be achieving on your committee, whether it's outreach or conference calls or decisions on what you want the program for your particular class to be like. And by the way, there are options for each class to supplement its own program with things like a photo booth or what have you, which a lot of classes elected to take advantage of. The support really was wonderful, and it made our job much easier. It was true recognition of the fact that we were all volunteers and that we were all taking time from busy days and families to volunteer for the law school, and it was exactly the sort of support that you would expect from a top law school with a top administration. It made the job much easier, and so I would encourage you all to lean on the support that you have, whether it's everything from reports, what did this person give the last few years, to helping people break up into groups, who was in sections together in law school, anything to try and rekindle familiarity as you're conducting this outreach, I think goes a long way. And then the last thing that I wanted to emphasize is, for us at least, the importance of informal recruiting. A lot of people have a knee-jerk reaction to say no when you ask them to serve on anything, whether it's a reunion committee or annual fund committee or alumni association. Everybody's got a lot going on. It's hard to commit. Okay, well, that's fine. If somebody's not interested in making the commitment of being on the committee, but is nonetheless interested in attending the reunion, that's somebody that you should take advantage of. Talk to that person. Who do you really want to see at reunion? Fine, you don't need to be on the committee. I'm not going to give you a list of people to contact, but you're going to come. Who do you really want to see? And encourage those people. Find 2 or 3 people that it would be great for you to see, and talk to them. Make travel plans together. Make babysitting arrangements together. Whatever it might be. Take it from being, sorry, that's where I'm at. Take it from being a gathering of a few hundred people to a gathering of the group that you feel closest to. And if you can do that times 10 or times 20, you can reach critical mass very quickly. And we had a lot of success by doing that. We utilized social media a lot, not me personally, but there were Facebook notes and LinkedIn notes and all of the sort of things that you can do on social media to try to kind of expand outreach. And it was successful. The other thing that was successful was starting early and being persistent. Our numbers jumped fairly significantly in the last few months. And part of that's just because there's a natural ramp up that doesn't really get going until you're that far out. But part of it was also just that we were able to create a buzz around our reunion for our particular class year that took on a bit of a life of its own. And that was exactly what we've been working on for the whole year, was to try and get the right people excited, whether or not they were on the committee, whether or not they were making solicitations for contributions, to turn the reunion into an event that was a gathering of particular groups of friends that all had something very important in common. I can't take credit for it because it really happened beyond us, but it happened. And reunion was awesome, and it was, there were emails after emails for probably a month after the reunion talking about all the great stories and all the all the rekindled relationships that were made. Not to mention business networking. I kind of intentionally left that out because that shouldn't really, I don't think, be anybody's focus here. But the reality is that we're all in business one way or another, whether it's the practice of law or otherwise. And as we know, the USC network, USC Law School network in particular, can be very helpful in that regard. And the profile of being on the reunion committee and the access and the outreach that that you can leverage in that position is helpful. And I don't think there's anything wrong with reminding people that you're talking to about encouraging to attend about the benefits of maintaining a strong USC Law network. And even though that's a thing that's out there, it's also something that happens individual by individual. And being at your reunion and running into people that you didn't expect to see and finding that you have things in common or finding that you have things that you can do together is invaluable. It was just as important to a lot of people as reconnecting, but it was in the background, which made it so much nicer than a typical networking event. So I had a great time serving on the committee. I'll take this opportunity to thank Allison and the rest of DGR for the great support that they were to us on our committee last year, and the school as a whole for putting on such a wonderful event. And I'm really encouraged by the turnout from everybody here tonight. It's what the school is all about. And as this large group breaks down into smaller groups and the outreach goes from there, you'll see that there's really an organic connection that we all share. And there's no one way to tap into it, but it's there. You've got a year to figure out how to get to it. And if you can, probably in any case, I can just about assure you that your reunion and the law school's reunion day is going to be great. And it's going to be because of you. And so I guess in advance, I'll give you all a round of applause for starting the process. So thank you.
Thanks, Danny. That was great. So as Danny said, we in the development office, we're here to help you have a great reunion. And I just want to acknowledge some of my colleagues who will be working with you. You probably obviously met them already in many cases. Ceres Botros, who's in the back of the room, she's working with the classes of 85, 90, and 95. There's Allison Edinburgh, who's working with the classes of 80 and 2000. I am working with the classes of 65, 70, and 75. And Rakib Haq over here is handling classes of 2005 and 2010. Rakib also is doing logistical support. He's the one who's going to do a lot of the scheduling of the conference calls, run reports. He's even a pretty good photographer. You see him over there with his camera. And he's going to spend a few minutes right now going over the reunion timeline.
Okay.
Thank you everyone again for joining us today. Let me share a little bit more details about the day of the event itself. As many of you may already know, it will be taking place on Saturday, June 13th at the JW Marriott Hotel at LA Live. So very close to us here at USC. So 5 years ago, and do want to mention that it's a little bit different structure. Danny already sort of foreshadowed that. Last time around, when you had your reunion, all of you had a big reception together, all the 10 classes together, and then you went on to your separate dinners, and it took place at the law school here. So this time around, we'll be doing it the other way around. The event will start at 6 o'clock. As you check in, we will have 10 separate reception areas set up for each classes. So you really get a chance to build rapport, get to see and know your classmates. You don't have to look for them in a big, large room. So around 7:15 or so until 8 o'clock, we will be taking each class at a time and to take your class photo, just as you have done 5 years ago. So it'll be kind of lovely to see the changes and whatnot. So around 8 o'clock, you should be done with most of all the classes, finishing your class photos. Now, one quick details here. we will start to take your class photo from 7:15. But if you are a class who is, let's say, done taking your class photo, we'll be escorting you to the dining or the ballroom for the dinner. However, the party will continue to happen there until the dinner starts. So a lot of times, well, if you get done with your class photo, what to do next? So we'll be there at the ballroom for the dinner itself. At the dinner, again, all 10 classes will come together for the dinner. However, you will be sitting with your classmates in your vicinity. At the dinner, we'll have remarks from various our chairs of the reunion and the dean. And after the dinner, we'll have the performance by USC Song Girls and the marching band. Okay. And we'll end the night. We should be done with the dinner officially around 10 o'clock. And then from 10 to 11, the stage is open. We'll have live band music playing, dancing. It's really up to you at that point to make it as much fun as you would like to. So that's how the day of the reunion looks like. Okay. Now let me share with you a little bit as far as the other details. Attire, cocktail attire for the evening. The cost of the reunion per person is $125 up to May 31st. Obviously, we'd like to have most of your classmates register as soon as possible. 2 weeks prior to the event, the cost will go up to $175. So that hopefully will deter others to sign up sooner than later. Okay. And lastly, it will be again valet parking, complimentary parking at the event itself. Okay. Next, I want to give you a quick snapshot of how we would like to help you do your outreach to your classmates and what will be coming up in the next few months. One of our goals is to send out one outreach item to your classmate every month until June. So in January, you're here tonight for the kickoff reception. Next week, next Monday on, we'll be sending out the reunion save the date card. So that will be one item that will be going out to all of your classmates. Starting from February, we'll be working on preparing, or we will be scheduling, myself and my other colleagues will be working with each of the committee to schedule your first conference call. Toward the end of the month, we'll also send out an email newsletter to the rest of your classmates, let them know that the registration is available and they can register. In March, we will send out an introductory letter to the rest of your classmates, introducing all of you as the committee and letting them know that you will be reaching out to them and we'll be working with you in terms of drafting that letter. April, we will send out the official invitation to the event. So that's another item that was going to remind them that the reunion is coming up, please register. In May, we'll be sort of the home stretch of our campaign. We'll discuss our honor roll email. Essentially, everybody, all of your classmates who makes a gift towards your class gift will be honored at the reunion or will be listed in the honor roll for the reunion. So we remind everyone to join in and chip in if they haven't already by that point. And then in June, we'll have the reunion itself. Okay. Just a quick again, this is how, sneak preview, I guess. This is how the save the date going to look like. It should be hitting your mailboxes next week. So look out for that. And if you see your classmate, let them know that hopefully they have received that as well. Also, we will have the reunion website where you will be able to receive all the information regarding registration. You can register, make your gift through the website as well. The website will be listed on the Save the Date. The website will be going live for Reunion 2015 once the Save the Dates goes out next week as well. Okay? And so there are sort of our game plan for the next few months to make your reunion a successful one. Any question that I could answer at this point, or okay? All right, so I'll hand over to you. Okay. Yeah.
So Bob talked a little bit about what makes the reunion meaningful. Ultimately, it's a celebration and a coming together, a chance for you to get together with former classmates, to renew friendships, to relive old memories. And I'm sure that's what you're going to take away from the event. event. But there are a couple of other ways that we measure the impact of the reunion. One of them is attendance. We're hoping for a big turnout at the reunion dinner. The strong show of support really means showing up. And last year, 270 alumni came to the dinner. Our goal this year is 350. We think that's achievable. Also, even though the sole core purpose of the reunion isn't about giving money, we do encourage everyone to contribute to their class gift. Class gift has an impact. It's a tangible measure of commitment to the law school, and it helps the law school address many of its core needs. Last year, about 18% of alumni contributed to the class gift. This year, we'd like to double that percentage, and we think that's achievable. Finally, the way we measure impact is by total giving. This reunion year is noteworthy in that it coincides with a major fundraising campaign for the law school, which is part of the larger USC campaign. Since Gould publicly announced its campaign last February, we have raised almost $13 million in gifts and pledges. And I think that really says a lot about the hard work that Bob has been doing in talking to people who want to have substantial and really meaningful participation in the law school and its campaign. And as you think about your class gift, we hope you'll consider pledging your support to the Gould campaign. And we're here to help you do that and answer any questions you may have about the types of giving opportunities and options that are available. Also, for those of you of a certain age, you can contribute to your reunion into the campaign by means of a deferred gift made through your estate. And that's a great way to increase the impact of your giving, and we hope you'll explore that option as well. So, how are we doing in total giving? Well, at this point last year, we raised about $190,000 in reunion gifts and pledges. So far this year, I'm pleased to report you and your classmates have contributed $320,000. So that's substantially more than that. That's great. We have a few more large gifts in the pipeline that we expect to be able to announce fairly soon. So I would say that you're pretty well on your way to surpassing last year's reunion total of $704,000. And in fact, I think you're going to go way beyond it, and you're really going to blow it out of the water. So final thoughts, that we do want to encourage a little friendly competition between the classes. So we'll be tracking the progress of each reunion class as they raise money and as they try to increase their class attendance for the event. And on the night of the reunion, we're going to be announcing the winning class in each of the 3 categories from the stage. So with that, I will thank you all again for coming. I think it's going to be a great reunion this year, and we look forward to working with you. Thank you. And if you have any questions,